see here. Oh, you get a double hand hello today. Look at that. It's still going. We're still doing it. Holy man. I have gone espresso today instead of instant. And the fun thing about espresso is that you need less of it than instant coffee to get the same kick reaction. So that's good. Yes. That girl is on fire. And that's a whole other story. So let's start this while people are rolling into the class. Yesterday after class, I'm like, I need to go to the fucking beach. I need to fucking relax. I need to hit the beach. Hello, thrifty reader. How are you doing today? So I'm like, I got to get to the beach. I got to go. I just need to decompress. I need to let it all out, the whole thing. So I go down to Santa Monica, go to the beach, and it is so windy. I get down to the sand. I put the blanket down. I had a bag of books with me and a salad, and I'm going to like read, do the thing, have a bottle of wine with me. I lay down. I start. Oh, you just sent me your poems. Okay. I will take a look at those. I'm eating the salad. The salad's full of sand. It's crunching in my mouth, but there's this nice saltiness to the salad that I wasn't expecting. So I kept eating it. I'm covered in sand. I'm like, there's no way I'm opening my books in this goddamn fucking hurricane that I'm laying in right now. And I'm looking around, and because it's summer, there's so many people at the beach, and everyone is just like resigned to the fact that they're at the beach and it's so windy, they're getting pelted with sand, and like they don't care. And I'm like, how are these people not caring? So I'm all pissed. So I walk back, and next to the parking lot, there's this little shack that serves food and drinks and stuff, and they make pretty good food. Actually, it's horribly overpriced, but it's pretty nice. And they have music playing and stuff. So I got some sweet potato fries, and through the time of me being there, I ordered 3 White Claws, because that's what you do, you know. And so I'm sitting there, I pull out my book, and I want to start reading. But there were all these people around, and there wasn't a lot of people. There's probably only like 4 tables of people on the outside patio thing. And I was getting all irritated. And so I was like singing the songs really loud and stupidly, hoping that people would go, oh God, this guy's annoying. Let's get the fuck out of here. And then that Adele song came on, and it's like, that girl is on fire, and all that shit. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Hannah. Hello. And so the song's playing. And so, like an asshole, I start yelling, well, put her out. Put her out. What's wrong with you? She's on fire. Put her out. Put her out. And I'm just like yelling stupid shit out loud because I'm an asshole, and that's what you do in that situation. And then I'm like laughing to myself. And then I pulled this book out of my bag because Bunny was talking about her just getting this. And I just opened it up. Let me see if I could actually find the bit I was talking about. This will not take me long to find. But I opened it to... Oh, nope, still can't find it. It was one of these. This is important, really. So I opened it up, and it opened to page 128. The poem is called Together. And I noticed that I like made a little line around a little stanza here. And so I looked over and read it, and it said, I walked over to her and said, "Listen, let's be quiet. He's got some rights." And I just got smacked in the face by a poem because all the people who were there, they have rights. I could be quiet. I don't need to be a fucking asshole. So, yeah, the moral of this story is always have a book of poetry with you when you're out and about, because you can open that up at any time and learn something. You could be smacked in the face with something. And most of the time, you need that smack in the face. I was the asshole. I was the loudmouth. I needed smacking. So, like every good dog with a tail between his legs, I just sat there and finished drinking my 3 White Claws and then drove home. So, cheers to that. And if anyone was wondering why I was drinking um, watermelon White Claws, it was because they were the cheapest drinks that they had at this ridiculously overpriced bar. And if I told you how much I paid for each can, each very skinny can of White Claw, you would fucking scream. And good Lord, I would have too. But they had a geographical monopoly on me, people. I had nothing to do with it. All right. So, anywho, that's the freebie for today. Always have a book of poetry with you, and always open it up like you would open up a Bible to answer a problem. Like just open it up and find a place and see what it says. It's amazing how that works. So, today, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over the poems from yesterday. Um, read a few of them to you guys, and then we are going to get into the KISS principle, which is really amazing because it is based on a 70s rock and roll band. I'm just kidding. It's not. That is not what it is based on at all. So let's get into these. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. Hannah is okay. Let me see. Hannah, I'm going to come back to this because I feel like I need to read a little bit of it before we get into it. And then Tim, I have yours here too. You know what? Tim and Hannah, let me save your guys' stuff for either after we come out of the breakout. We'll do that. And let me go over the stuff that I already looked over beforehand. Um, so, this is a really good thing here. So, we were going over yesterday, like an inside and an outside thing. And I want to read Mindy's here because, and Mindy, I hope this is okay. I'm going to read all of it. So Mindy's inside is called Hippo Squeaky Toy. Bright pink hippo, a toy for my cats. Prominent position on the cat tree. Happy face yet menacing. Those big beady eyes stare into my soul. My cats don't even like it. Why is it even there? Okay, now this is fucking relatable as all fucking hell, because how many of us have pets that we bought stupid fucking toys for, and our pets fucking hate the toys or loathe the toys, and then the toys end up just being a thing that's always in the room, always in the way, always fucking where it is. And then if that thing has a fucking face on it, and it's staring at you and it haunts you and it just like mocks you like, you paid money on me. You thought I was going to make your cat happy. You thought I was going to make your dog wag its tail. Guess what, fucker? Nope, I'm just looking at you now. Yeah, we've all been there. So that's fucking relatable as hell. Now, this is what I was really wanting to get to here. They would rather play with packaging. Oh, totally. Or like find something of yours that they know you really don't want anyone to touch or do anything with, and then they'll fucking tear it to shit. So this is called Library Office Center, and this is really important how we're going to do this here. So, need to scan some paperwork. I put it in the tray, push the button. It's not working. Thwarted by a scanner. Wait, no. Turn the papers around. Delete blank file. Try again. What? Now they're upside down. Fantasize about throwing the scanner out the window. Flip the paper 180 degrees. Delete file. Try again. Now I have scanned documents. Wasn't that easy? Oh my God. Someone's getting towed. Now, what is crucial here? Mindy writes a line that says, fantasize about throwing the scanner out the window. Okay. Now, just a little bit later, Mindy sends me another email and she says, here is a revision I would add. Is this better? So let's go over this again. Library Office Center. Need to scan some paperwork. I put it in the tray. Push the button. It's not working. Thwarted by a scanner. Wait, no. Turn the paper around. Delete blank file. Try again. What? Now they're upside down. I rip the cord from the wall, pick up the scanner, walk 3 steps, and throw it out the window. The glass shatters. There's a satisfying crunch as the scanner hits the ground, surrounded by tiny pieces of broken glass. Returning back to reality from this amusing fantasy. Flip the papers 180 degrees. Delete file. Try again. Now I've scanned the documents. Wasn't that easy? Just adding this bit. Okay. This bit was from the other bit. That was fantasizing about throwing the scanner out the window. But this is a visceral telling of throwing that scanner out the window. And then coming back into reality to finish the thing. Yes, this is a million times better. It's real. It shows the anger and then the restraint. It shows the thing that people have to do every day, the wanting to and then go, no, I'm in a public place and I am not going to throw a scanner out the window because that's silly. Why would I do that? That whole thing, that's wonderful. And I hope that's okay that I read both poems, because I think the idea, I think a lot of us, when we write something, will write something and then not think at all to like elaborate on little parts like that. And when you do that, you can open yourself up to this huge new way of doing it. Another thing to do if you're not sure about this is to write the poem where like nothing happens and you're just dealing with the scanner, and then write the poem again from almost like a fantasy, like what would you like to do to that scanner, and write 2 separate poems that have nothing to do with one another, but focus on both I guess emotions, or both dimensions when you do stuff like that. In the main course, we're going to be spending a whole class going over the difference between um, external and internal. And this kind of goes in that same direction, same like category with that. So that was awesome. So very good job. Um, Now, Sarah sent me something that wasn't exactly um, the prompt, but I really liked it, so I'm going to read this to you guys. I sit, I smile, hands placed delicately on my lap, a picture of feminine obedience. I sit, I smile, not a soul aware of the scars I possess. No one would know, nobody could know. I sit, I smile, my escape playing consistently through my mind, reaching for peace every day, but always being just out of touch. I sit, I smile, cold metal felt against my thigh, a weirdly erotic feeling, blade hidden from wandering eyes. I could be free right now if I choose. Yet, I still sit and I still smile. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think everyone, especially the women in the group here, know that I sit, I smile. The the facade, the mask we wear when we are in the situations where the mask is a necessity. Um, that was great. Let me see here. Is this the one? No, this is not the one. So we're coming back. Uh-oh, where is it? Is it here? Oh, wait, no. Gosh, I just passed it. I keep being kicked out alive tonight, but I really like the poems I've heard so far. Oh, Hannah, thank you for becoming a member too. Yeah, I don't know why that is. Is everyone getting kicked out? Because it might be, I wonder if it's my internet. Like, is the stream cutting and coming back and cutting and coming back? Let me know. And here, this is from Thomas. This is his inside. I get kicked out every night, but I think it's my internet. Good here. No, mine is fine. Okay. Okay. So this is Thomas's inside. The dark stairs. The dark stairs come up here. I welcome you into my embrace. Warm and inviting. Stay up here. Wake up scared. I can't get out. Here I suffocate. Dark in the night. I beg for air and pray for morning light. And then his outside thing. The head honcho. I stand here atop my mountain, high and mighty, my arms folded across my chest. I stare down at you, demanding eyes. Work harder, work faster, I enslave you. The thing about Thomas's stuff that I'm really digging and I'm seeing as a constant theme in the stuff that he sends is that he can take something and in just a few lines, like with the dark stairs, like we know the stairs are dark, but it's, welcoming you into my embrace, warm and inviting, stay up here, and then all of a sudden wake up scared, I can't get out, I suffocate. Like his focus goes so quickly to the next thing. It's like everything's nice and inviting, everything's fucked. And he's done this a few times. And even here, like the head honcho, I stand here atop my mountain, high and mighty, arms folded across my chest. Now, when you hear that, arms folded across my chest, that's like a very standoffish, like, what do you call it? Body language, very standoffish. But it's setting the stage that the head honcho is the head honcho atop the mountain. And we don't know anything about him other than maybe he's standoffish and then demanding nice, work harder, work faster, I enslave you. Like, he very quickly can turn something into something worse. And that's a lot of fun. And that could be like his shtick, but I see it in a lot of his stuff, so that's cool. Good job there. And then let's see, is this Nathan's? I think it's probably mine. And you're welcome, Matt. Yay. Um, wait, no, this isn't it. Where is it? Wait, was it here? I'm sorry, guys. I thought I had all this stuff like all situated. I'm about to go all Mindy and throw my phone out the window. Like nothing is where it's supposed to be. Okay. Um so Nathan's inside poem. Contorted around leather, breathing in an odd rhythm, dreaming in thunder of ending his father. What possessed the back to bow in such an arched fashion, or bow in such an arched fashion? Seductive Juno turns his eyes in on themselves, and they bear witness to a sleeping dog named Zeus. Sorry, Nathan, for butchering that. So, I'm assuming, and I like it when you guys send me like what your poems are about, like what your ideas were behind the poems, because that like really helps a lot. I think this is about, I'm gonna guess a dog, an older dog, and a younger dog laying on a couch. And it's amazing when you could tell a story based off of that picture. You know, like a lot of times, especially when I'm talking about like writing something from inside, it's kind of like a still life painting. Like, you know, like, oh, here is a painting of an apple on a table. Like when you go to like art class and you do that shit. When we do this, we're doing that, but we get to create a tale. We get to create a story around it. We get to add we get to add emotion into it and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. Okay, the outside poem. It's not been going great. She can't hear good. They whisper when she leaves her seat, laugh loudly when she exits the room. A couple of us like the way she changes the temperature, grays differently to others, strides in shorts and solid steel, and says, "See you tomorrow," like one hand on a sheathed sword. I like the simile at the end there. That's really good. And then let's get to that was day 2. Is it on here? Yeah, okay, so this is bunnies inside and outside here. So inside, you're playing a falling game, heat coloring your lips. They go blue, like you lost all life, drowning in the screen. I'm a little sick. I like it. And you say, "You bitch, you held me, you killed me." I say, "I know," before you blow me a kiss. That is very heavy for what this is and makes people think, like, what the fuck is going on? And then she told me that she was watching her significant other playing Fall Guys, and that was that was the story she made by watching her partner play a video game, which cracks me up. Okay, and then outside. I wanted to bring you home, make you mine, peel you open, roll you on my tongue, swallow what's under that skin. But the swarm had come, whispering death down onto your yellow fingers. So I walk on by as the flies take you. You can rot for someone else. Okay, that is deep, and it is visceral. It is very raw emotion, and you feel that, and then you're like, what is that about? And it's about her wanting to buy bananas, but they were like rotting, so she didn't buy them, and she was mad because she couldn't have bananas. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about taking something, taking your life, and Nathan wrote me an email and we were talking, or he was talking about this a little bit. But this is taking your mundane, your ordinary existence and turning it into something extraordinary, turning it into something fascinating. I could sit here and talk to you all day about this coffee, but I could also make this coffee a villain. I can make this coffee a drug dealer. I can make this coffee a pimp. I can make this coffee whatever I want because of the metaphor of the things that the coffee does to me. And I could write this whole big poem about the struggles I have trying to break the grasp of this controlling fuck that's strangling me. And it's just about coffee. Okay. A lot of people think that their lives aren't interesting enough and that their lives aren't important enough and that they haven't done enough with their life to write anything about it in an interesting way that anyone would give two shits about. But this is where we come back to how unique you are and how no one has seen the world through your eyes because no one has experienced all the things you've experienced in the sequence of your experience to be able to look at something and create it into something else. Do you guys see what I'm saying? It's very, very important to be able to do that. So, let me see here. My internet is being mean today, deep, deep in the hollow, or the holler. Me, my pets are beautiful a-holes. Yep. Oh, because we're going about the fucking pets being dicks about our shit. Yeah. So think about the things around you and think about how those things affect you, how they affect you on the outside and how they affect you on the inside. And really toy with those things because the canvas that you have in front of you is blank and you can do whatever the fuck you want to it. And how you do those things are completely unique to you and you can make them be whatever you want. And just like going back to Mindy's poem, where you take something and even though she mentioned it being a fantasy about throwing the scanner out the window, you don't need to tell us that if you don't want to. Like with poetry, you're allowed to bend the truth. You're allowed to make it more interesting. Nobody knows what has really happened and what hasn't really happened. Nobody knows but you. And it's not lying, it's making something better. So toy with those things and see what you can do. Like maybe when you're writing something for today, write something and add a little bit of fiction into it and own it like it's real and see how that goes. Um, but yeah, so those were everyone's poems that I got before I started the stream. I know I got two more poems, and I think what I'm going to do, like I said earlier, in a little bit, we're going to break off and try to do some writing, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about their poems. Okay, so today, the K.I.S.S principle. There is water on the thing. Hold on one second. Let me go turn the kettle off. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's see here. Let me. Oh, yes. Okay. So, what we're going to be going over here with this is this. The K.I.S.S principle, if you guys don't already know, which I'm sure you guys do, is keep it simple, stupid. Okay. Whatever you need to do, just keep it simple. There's no need to make things more difficult, more obtuse, more opaque than it needs to be. Because the whole idea here, and this is one of these things where I get really annoyed with the academics. This is where I talk about how much how much people like T.S. Eliot have kind of ruined poetry and kept it out of the hands of the people. And I think if you look at the history of poetry, and I'm talking pre poetics, okay, poetry has always been the language of the people, not the language of the elite. The elite can have whatever they want and they take whatever the fuck they want, but poetry has always been for the people. And when you start making something specifically obtuse for the sole purpose to make people feel like they can't understand it, and make you feel like an elitist. And again, in the course that we will spend a lot more time on this than what we're doing here now. But it's frustrating. So in order to keep this like this, I'm going to start pulling stuff from a bunch of different people right now. So first off, we're going to go with this book here. This is Bukowski, and I swear to God, and I know I do it all the time, but the quotes I'm going to be bringing up are not just Bukowski. So before you guys get scared thinking that I'm just going to be throwing Bukowski at you, there will be more. Okay, so this is The Mathematics of the Breath and the Way, on Writers and Writing, by Charles Bukowski. Now, he has a quote on the back of this book. I'm not going to go through the book like I did last time trying to find it. Okay. He says, "Genius could be the ability to say a profound thing in a simple way, or even to say a simple thing in a simpler way." All right. So genius could be the ability of saying a profound thing in a simple way, or even to just say a simple thing in a simpler way. That is so powerful because, and this goes back to what Ezra Pound said. Ezra Pound said, "Your poetry," and I'm totally gonna fucking misquote him here, and I think I brought this up before, but he said your poetry should be able to be understood by like people on the other side of the planet. Like, I'm totally misquoting him here, but like I can't remember what he said. He said like your poetry should be able to be understood by the farthest reaches in Africa. You know, just like the poem should be very easily digestible by anyone. And when you have that accessibility, I have a scratchy throat, guys. When you have that accessibility, not only can your readership grow, but whatever message you're trying to get out can get out to anyone. It does not have to be metaphor, simile, form. It doesn't have to have all of this stuff. It doesn't have to sound smarter than it is. What you have to say is important. I want all of you guys to understand this. The the things you guys want to get out, the words you want to express, the feelings you want to express. These are all important. Everyone should be able to hear your story. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to gussy it up. You don't have to put it in a fancy dress and slap a bunch of makeup on it and do its hair all nice. It's your poem, it's your feelings, it's your heart, it's your soul. Just give it to us raw, Like, it doesn't need all of the accoutrements, okay? Um and I feel like one of the reasons why people are so scared of poetry is because this lie has been foisted upon us that poetry is supposed to be a certain way. It's supposed to be hard to understand. It's supposed to be this big, flowing fucking thing that at the end of the day might not make any sense. If I ever write a poem and people have to debate the meaning of the poem, I fucked up. I did it wrong. That is not what poetry is. But since I would say um, the 30s and into um, probably the 30s into obviously the 30s go into the 40s, but there was another big movement, and it was probably the late 70s into the 80s against what was happening in the 70s. The 70s was a really big time for American poetry. But this idea of um, having to like stand up for form and stand up for making things hard to understand, because as soon as the um, academics lose their grip on stuff, what the fuck are they? And we can argue this a lot, but like, when you think about it, people who teach poetry in university are usually failed poets, or poets who, if they didn't have the university backing, wouldn't be able to publish shit. And if you take that poetry away from them, if you like make it simple and make it to where everyone can understand it, that means everyone's on the same playing field. And if that's the case, the importance of Professor Poetry Man is gone. He has no credibility. He's just like everybody else. Okay. And when you get the poetry schools, like not the schools for poetry, but the schools of poetry, like your Black Mountain Poets, your Beats, and all this other stuff, a lot of time these schools come out of a professor who teaches poetry a certain way, and that professor, it's a pyramid. That professor has students, and his students all learn poetry this way, and then those students tell all their friends that this is how poetry is supposed to go. And each semester this guy's class has students in it, so every time the semester ends, there's more and more people out there who are spouting the same shit that professor was saying. And some of you astute viewers might be saying, but Matt, isn't that what you're doing? It is to an extent, but I'm telling you to do whatever the fuck you want, and it doesn't fucking matter. Like, do whatever you want. And you could be anyone's school. You could be the school of Mindy, the school of Hannah, the school of Sarah. It doesn't matter. You guys can do whatever the fuck you want. And I'm just here trying to help you, trying to like hold your hand and say, yes, you guys can do anything and it doesn't matter. So, but that's a bit of a rant, and we will go deeper into academia and stuff like that as the main course goes. But so let's get back into this. Um, oh, this is a good example. Hank Williams Sr., the country singer extraordinaire. Um, he had a band called the Drifting Cowboys, and I absolutely, Hank Williams is probably one of the very few country singers that I have still listened to over the years, even though I've kind of fallen in and out of love with country music over the years. And the thing I like about Hank, and this is before I was writing poetry, this is just when I was writing music. I've read his both. I think there's two, or there were two at the time I read them, biographies about his life and stuff like that. But the thing that I learned from him was when they would go to the recording sessions to record whatever new songs Hank had. His band would say, "Okay, what do you want us to do, Hank? What do you want us to do?" And he would say, "Plain vanilla, guys, plain vanilla." And that meant like no frills. Like, I don't want you to do anything crazy. I don't want you to do anything out of the ordinary. I just want you to do plain vanilla because this is the song. It's plain. It's for everyone. It's for the people. I mean, obviously, he didn't say those things I said at the end. But when you think about it, there were a lot of other artists and a lot of other acts doing lots of other things. 3 chords and a message. Boom. That is so fucking brilliant. And over the years, Hank Williams' stuff has stuck around, and a lot of other people have fallen by the wayside. You see what I'm saying? Like, things don't have to be bogged down with extra shit. And another example of this, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but we're here now. Neil Young. I don't know if any of you guys like Neil Young, but I like Neil Young in a completely different reason, probably, than other people. Yes, I love the After the Gold Rush album. I love Harvest. Mainly his stuff in the 70s is like my sweet spot. And then I appreciate him for doing this. But then in the 80s, he just started doing all sorts of shit. He did this album called Trans that was a what do you call it? Electronic album, like very like Kraftwerk influenced. And then he did an album called I think it was Neil Young and the Shocking Pinks, Everybody Dance or Everybody Rock or something. And it was like a rockabilly album. And then he did an album called Old Ways, which was kind of like his take at like down home country music and stuff. And what I like about Neil Young is that he's always experimenting. He's always doing shit like that. And the reason why I want to bring this up is I can't remember if it was on After the Gold Rush or if it was on Harvest. Oh yeah, and Everyone Knows This Is Nowhere. That album is amazing, by the way. I can't remember if it was on After the Gold Rush or Harvest. But either way, those two albums are arguably his two biggest albums. And he would always try to put a different band together unless he was doing shit with Crazy Horse. If he was doing shit with Crazy Horse, he was doing shit with Crazy Horse. But when he was doing like his solo stuff, he always tried to put a new band together. And so like the band members would come to the studio, or the studio musicians would show up, and the guitar player, the lead guitar player, would show up, and he's like, "Okay, so what do you want me to do? Here are my credentials. I'm really fucking good and everything, whatever." And Neil Young's like, "Okay, yeah. So today I want you to play drums." And he's like, "Whoa, I don't play drums." And he's like, "You play drums now. Go play drums." And then the bass player comes in and he's like, "What do you want me to do?" You're on lead guitar." And he's like, "What the fuck?" And then the drummer comes in. "What am I supposed to do?" You're playing piano." And he's like, "I don't even fucking know how to play piano." And he's like, "You do now. Go ahead and do it." And this whole idea of deconstructing something was just so you keep it simple. Like, he didn't want these virtuosos to fucking like turn his fucking songs into a goddamn fucking shit show where everyone's trying to outdo the other one. He wanted it simple. He wanted it plain. Okay. And Neil Young's put out like, I don't know, fucking probably like 30 fucking albums. And which ones are his biggest albums? After the gold rush, harvest. Probably harvest more than after the gold rush. So, taking these ideas of simplifying everything down and breaking it down and breaking it down and breaking it down and breaking it down, it is very, very crucial because it allows you to, exactly like the thrifty reader said, 3 chords and a message. And since we're not doing music, all we have is the message. Okay. So another thing, Ginsburg, and I talked to Sarah about this yesterday. Sarah was saying how sometimes it's hard for her to decide what words to use. Ginsburg said, um, and this quote has been like muddied up different ways, different times, but it's been first word, best word, first thought, best thought. And I think it all kind of goes into the same thing. Whereas when you are first sitting down and you are writing this poem and you're writing this story, you're making this art, the first thing you do, that is your gut reaction. That is the burst. That is the emotional vomit. Okay. That first thing is what it is. So you have to be able to trust your gut. You have to be able to trust your pen. You have to be able to trust your keyboard. Okay. And we will talk about this again in a second. But the first thought you have, that is the creative burst. That is the explosion. And you need to be able to trust those things. And when you're writing, it is so imperative that you don't start editing while you're writing. When you want to change words, when you want to come up with different things, that's a completely different hat you have to put on to do that. So fuck that. Don't do that yet. When you are writing, your job is to just fucking vomit on the page. Your job is to cut your fucking wrists, let the blood pour out, bleed on the fucking page. That's your only job. You could come back with band-aids and paper towels and shit later to like clean stuff up and make it look better if you want. But that first explosion, that is the art. Okay, that is where the magic happens. So don't sell yourself short by like changing words up and changing this up and, oh, I don't know if this is good here. I don't know if this is going to work. Let that explosion happen. And then afterwards, if you really, really want to, put that hat on, the editor's hat, and go, I'm an editor now, see? And then you could like go in and do all this shit if you want to do that. But you really need to start learning to trust yourself on the inside, trust your inner writer, trust your feelings to be able to push that shit out and know that it's going to be fucking good. Now, people could go, oh, well, you just said earlier about Mindy's poem where she fantasized about doing it and then she wrote about actually doing it. Yes, and that's when you put the editor hat on, okay? You don't need to start going through and gutting stuff before you're done with it. Finish the thing, sit with it. And usually when I write something, I don't go back to go over it until like a week or so later. Like I have to get completely away from it and then come back and read it with like completely fresh eyes. And when I do that, it's usually like, oh, this is a nice surprise. Like I didn't know I wrote this poem. And then I read it and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's a nice kind of thing. But and we'll get into editing and all that stuff in the main course. But just know to trust yourself. That keeps it simple because you're not complicating just the creation process. And that is a big deal. You will get so much more done if you do that. So, first word, best word, first thought, best thought. Let's see here. Embellishments are for rich folk who don't understand certain hardships and simple lives. I agree, Sarah. I had a professor who told me, and this is Hannah talking. I had a professor who told me, or I guess the class, that poetry had to be abstract. If it wasn't, It wasn't poetry. It put me off writing for years. That is exactly what I'm talking about. That is so fucking annoying. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Um, yeah, that's the shit. And this is when we go back to the whole deal with form in general, to me, is a cage that people put poetry in to make it objective art, to make it an objective medium when it was never supposed to be objective. Okay. Like if you take away objectivity from poetry, all of these fucking people are out of a job and they can't let that fucking happen. And when you had the name is fucking escaping me right now. This is gonna drive me crazy if I don't look it up real quick. I'm sorry, guys. Hang on. Why am I skipping on his name? That's not helpful. Is this it? Nope, that's not helpful. Is this it? Sorry, guys. Why am I having such a mind? Fucking Walt Whitman. God damn it. I'm sitting here going Wadsworth, Wadsworth, Wadsworth. No, Walt Whitman. Okay, Walt Whitman took poetry and gave it to the people, made it. And if we really want to get into like deep shit here, and this is again something for the main course, but poetry started way before the academics got a hold of it. And if you really get into brass tacks of everything, every single form of poetry out there existed nowhere until somebody did it and then said, this is a thing now, everyone do this. Or somebody saw something someone did, copied it, and instead of being charged with plagiarism, said, no, this is now a form created by so and so. So now, if you would like to do poetry, this is a way to do it. And that happens time and time and time and time again until all of a sudden we now have criteria for judging people's art. And the fact that someone can judge art is ridiculous. Okay. Somebody could say whether they like it or not, like if that art is for them, because not all art is for everybody. But when you start taking pieces of it and making, oh, this is an objective check mark, this is an objective check mark, like that's fucking ludicrous. And so Walt Whitman took poetry, gave it to the people. T.S. Eliot said, whoa, whoa, buddy, what the fuck do you think you're doing right now? Whoa, I'm going to write The Wasteland and make everyone fucking crazy and let everyone know that they cannot write poetry. These fucking motherfucking piece of shit people thinking they could go out there and write poems. I'm not having this, not on my watch. And if you don't believe me, you can look up interviews with T.S. Eliot talking about this exact thing. Okay. It's shocking. So if it wasn't for the beats, okay, and I give a lot of shit to the beats, I really fucking do. But if it wasn't for the beats, that T.S. Eliot mindset would have stayed with poetry. And poetry probably would be dead by now. Like, especially American poetry or modern poetry. There wouldn't be anything like that. So the beats come in and try to do things their own way and everything. And then in the late 60s, early 70s, there was this kind of like the beats were appreciated, but people were like, you know what? You guys are too famous now, and you guys like the smell of your own farts. So we're going to go a step further. And then you had like the moderns, but like that's why I'm so big on the West Coast poetry out of the 70s. Like, it was like the beats started in the right direction and then fell off the horse. We're going to destroy poetry now. We are going to eviscerate what everyone thought poetry was. We are going to just kill it. So anyway, I'm going on sidetracks, but definitely read Walt Whitman, read The Wasteland, and read it knowing that he wrote that specifically to make people feel like they couldn't write poetry. The Wasteland is T.S. Eliot's answer to Walt Whitman giving poetry to the people. It's fucking disgusting. Okay, so anyway, moving right along. Oh, okay, yeah, we could do that. But since we're talking about this, I'm going to do one more Bukowski thing real quick here. Bukowski has a very short poem in this book. Play the piano. Wait, what is it? Play the piano drunk like a percussion instrument until the fingers begin to bleed a bit. Ridiculously long title. But the poem is called Art. It's very short. It says, as the spirit wanes, the form appears. That's it. As the spirit wanes, the form appears. And a lot of people have argued what this means. And it's not an arguable poem. It's very straight to it. As the spirit wanes, the form appears. There were a lot of poets that Bukowski liked their early work of. And as they got older, and one would say as they became affluent to the point where they couldn't relate to people anymore, they couldn't relate to real fucking problems anymore. Their spirit, their soul, what they wrote with had kind of vanished. And they didn't know what to do because they are professional poets. What now? What do I do now? Oh, I have form. I can just write poems in form and not really think that much about it anymore. And boom, we're sorted. So that is kind of, I think people could play with form if they want to, but if you start relying on it, you have to ask yourself a question like, where is your heart? Where is your soul right now? It's a slippery slope. Like, if you have the heart and soul to do it and you can do it well, then do it however you want to. But if you realize that you're running out of things to say and you're like, oh, I could do a haiku and then I'm fine, or I will just write a sonnet here of blah, 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 blah. Then you have to start kind of looking at yourself a little bit. And then finally, as far as what we're talking about here, this book, War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells. Okay, it's a pretty popular book, pretty famous book. This is simplicity in a nutshell. I am going to ruin this book for you now, if I haven't already told you this already. But the book's like over 100 fucking years old. If you haven't read it yet, you're not gonna. These aliens, these Martians from Mars, obviously, come to Earth to try to take it over, enslave it, do the whole thing. They have more machinery. They're obviously farther advanced than we are, and they're here to fucking destroy. Shit's getting fucked up. Things are bad. Motherfuckers are dying left and right. And then the Martians come out of their little metal houses that they're living in and killing the Earth, the tripods. And you know what happens? You know what happens? The Martians die. They just drop dead. Why are they dropping dead? Because of a small, insignificant, simple bacteria that we call the common cold. Okay? The common cold wipes out the Martian race on Earth. Something small, something simple, something insignificant. And I want my poetry to be that bacteria. I want my poetry to be able to kill off Martians. Okay. And like, let's kind of feel that. Let's think like that. Our poetry, our small words, our little tiny poems have the power to fucking annihilate Martians. You see what I'm saying here? Keep it fucking simple. Hello, JH. How you doing? Just keeping it simple, something small. Boom. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of in the weeds a little bit. But the whole idea here is you can do whatever you want. You can write whatever you want. There are no rules. You can do anything your heart desires. And I encourage you to do those things. All right. And one of the things that we talked about early on in this class was write poems like you're writing to a best friend, like you talk to a best friend. Um, when you're trying to find your voice, and like you're unsure of how that goes, like like there are people around you and even family members and stuff. The way you talk, the way you speak to one another, it is different. There will be similarities in certain things, but every one of us has a unique voice, a unique cadence, a unique way of phrasing. You know what I'm saying? Every one of us has this. And based on who we surround ourselves with as our lives go on, we pick up little things and we might drop other things that aren't that powerful in our dialect or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So when we're writing poetry and we want to come off as real and we want everyone to know our insides and we want this closeness in our words, we have to treat our poetry like our best friend. We have to treat our poetry like our therapist. If you're very honest with your therapist, some people aren't. So what's the fucking point? Am I right? We need to treat poetry like this. So now I want to challenge you guys to the next thing that you write, and you don't have to write it right this second, but tonight or today or when we break out here, instead of just writing like you're writing to a best friend, I want you to write like you're writing to a potential lover. Okay. And that sounds weird. I hate when people say lover. Oh, this is my lover. I it's not my favorite, but people know what I mean when I say it. And when I say it like this, a potential lover, it's because when you are really like into somebody and you want that to go further. And if you're married or in a serious relationship right now, just think back to when it started. The conversations were intense. A lot of words were used. And when the words were used, they were used with maybe touching or um, like a curl of the lip, a glimmer in the eye, if you will. Okay. Because you were hoping that something was going to go to the next spot. You see what I'm saying? There was a lure in your words. Okay. So, what I want you to do now today is when we are going to be writing about stuff, I want you to act as if you're writing these to that lover. Okay. And what I want you to do, I think we'll do it. I wasn't 100% on this, but I think we're going to do it. So, like we did the inside and the outside, okay, I want you to do now an internal and an external thing where write about one thing. Pick whatever it is. If it's a cup of coffee, if it's your cat toy, if it's the scanner, if it's the bananas, whatever it is. And I want you to try to write something externally about that, whatever it is. And that is just a very real thing. Like my coffee is black, it's hot, It's very bitter. It's very earthy tasting when I drink it. And then with the internal poem, write that lover poem about it. Like, use the words that you would use in that situation. Okay. Get deep, get raw, get the whole fucking thing. All right. So, does anybody have any questions? I've been running the liquor here for some time. Actually, type some questions down if you guys have questions. I'm going to pour a cup of coffee because I am now out and I keep talking about coffee. So obviously, somebody wants some coffee. So I'm going to go get some coffee. I will be right back. Oh my God. Oh, damn. Okay. Well, this is what we're going to do. This guy, dude, just can't seem to make it happen here. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're not gonna break out today because we're already over an hour here. So what we're gonna do now is tomorrow. Tomorrow is a big day. We're gonna do giveaways tomorrow. I'm gonna give away a pack of um, my chapbooks tomorrow. Um, I I was hoping that the second volume of the Poetic Anarchy books were here so I could give away one of those. But I checked, and even though it said Friday, it might not be Friday. And it's en route, but it might not be here yet. So maybe I'll still do a giveaway of the Poetic Anarchy book. I ordered a few copies so I could do giveaways on it. You know what? Fuck it. We'll do it. And it'll just take me a while to get it to you. So fuck it. Yeah, we'll do it. So there'll be a giveaway of my chapbooks. There'll be a giveaway of the second Poetic Anarchy book. And tomorrow we're going to be going over something that is very important to me in my writing, and that is blood. Okay, we're going to talk about blood and we're going to talk about voice. All right. So, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be doing the giveaways and we're going to be going over the poems that you guys send in. Again, if you don't know, send your poems to ihatemattwall@gmail.com and we'll go over them here. And Hannah and Thrifty Reader, I am so sorry we didn't get to your poems today, but those will be the first things that we do tomorrow. So, apologies for that. Try to get your stuff into me by like 10 a.m. my time, because it takes me a bit to go through them, and then also to get everything ready for the stream and stuff. So yeah, so tomorrow's a big day, big day, big day, big day. Okay. We're talking blood tomorrow, guys, and it's gonna be juicy. So with that said, good job, everybody. Don't see any questions in the chat. If you do have questions, you can email them to me as well. ihatemountwall@gmail.com, and we will be talking, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good job today. Take care.